For miles she wound up the steep valley slopes, through the towering forest, passing hundreds of fallen trees. The rain bucketing, me drenched and struggling. My back getting more and more sore. Not one bird call or sighting, till later and only once. I'd been watched at Gwal-y-Filiast and I was being watched now. I could feel beings around, but I wasn't sure who they were. Perhaps it was the Fae, the Teg. I mentioned it on camera, but there was something darker lurking too, shadowing me. I kept walking and quite soon became aware of a presence beside me, to my left, walking right up tight close. "Is that you, she-wolf?" Yes, it was. I hadn't been aware of her with me for such a long time, since I'd asked her to care for some little ones a few years ago. Kian the warrior came with us too. So, quite a little band of invisibles accompanied me as I trudged up those lonely hills in the pouring rain. The weft of Ffraed's weaving at Gwal-y-Filiast emulates she-wolf's weaving in front of me when she wants to delay me or stop me from going somewhere. I remember I wrote an article about my last visit, She-wolf's home, or something like that. All this time I've been holding a camera and a brolly to keep it dry in my left hand, a divining rod in my right, and I was wearing wellies. Not best for a long, arduous walk, but that wasn't going to be happening, was it? So I'd be okay. On and on I went, winding up and up the nigh vertical valley side. It felt like forever, the raging ribbon of the tumultuous tuff below receding further and further away from me, and then the track ran out. Ahead of me now was a broad expanse of rough ground, low scrub, mostly bracken, dried grass and brambles, low brambles, up to about 2 feet high, surefire trippers. And in all likelihood concealing stumps and boulders. By now I could hardly lift my feet up over an inch or two. The brambles felled me scores of times, no exaggeration. I pressed on. Each time I was able to pick myself up, unhurt except by sharp thorns piercing the palm of my right hand and wrist. Miraculously few though, considering. I kept hold of the camera and the brolly, now broken but still affording some rain and shock protection for the camera. Night was closing in on me fast now. I had no idea where I was, and the rain was calling Noah. If I ever get out of here, or even if I don't, at least there'll be a film of my last moments here. I was being pragmatic. In truth, I never doubted I was being looked after. I had complete faith in that. This was a test for my spirit, of my faith, my resilience, my commitment. And I was doing all right, surely. After struggling through this booby-trapped wasteland, brought to my knees time and time again, I came to a rusty old barbed wire fence. Behind this, a new barbed wire topped fence, and behind that, an empty pasture, a clear green field. I could climb the fence and get out of these thorns, but I couldn't. I tried and I tried. But my wedded legs just wouldn't lift more than a few inches. No sign of any buildings to take shelter in, no sign of life anywhere, no sounds but that of the constant rain. No lights. Where was I? Ffraed passed through the fence, no problem at all for her, of course. And I just knew something special to her was on the other side, and that she'd been taking me to it. Gathering my stuff together, I resolved to find a way into the field. That was the moment I realised with horror I dropped my divining rod somewhere in the wasteland. I raced back, stumbling over and over through the anonymous trackless wilderness, being led by something. Perhaps the moment I dropped it is caught on the camera. That could help. But then, to make finding it even more unlikely, I discovered the camera had switched off a long way back. It hadn't crossed my mind to check on that. Undaunted, I just kept wading through the briars, in a situation seeming more hopeless than the proverbial needle in a haystack. I thanked the divine for the blessing of the light of the open, unshaded oasis that meant I could see better. And then, in the last mustering seconds of twilight, I felt I needed to stop. Something or someone was urging me to look at a particular spot. I did. Look harder. My eyes adjusted, and in amongst the mass of strewn and parallel dried stalks propped against the brambles and undergrowth, there it was, laying there, as unfazed as you like, waiting for me to come back for it. I've been led directly to it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Reunited, I was overjoyed, and I almost skipped through the thorny footpaths to the fence. Obviously I hadn't needed the rod to follow Ffraed during any of this, but that didn't occur to me then. It does now. Perhaps my natal sensing, I thought had diminished, is returning. Did it ever leave? Anyway, seeing sense, I knew that the spirit was willing, the flesh was weak. Following promptings, I decided to follow the fence down the incline, and there I found a public footpath. As soon as I was on it, Crea the buzzard, another guardian of mine, flew from a tree branch and showed me which way to go. At her next perch, 100 yards or so along, I met Ffraed coming through the hedge from the field and onto the path. But a long walk, a very long walk, was still ahead, even to the road. We arrived in the village of Login in complete darkness, a solitary, lonely streetlight by the junction, by the river. A fox without a tail ran through a gate by the bridge and along the riverside, then stopped to watch me from the other side of the river, as I stumbled wearily but relieved up and up the relentlessly steep, endless-seeming valley-side road, to where I'd left my car, at the top, by the footpath to Gwal-y-Filiast, and the junction with the Llanglydwen Llanboidy road. Part the way up, in the sky above me, appeared a pair of crows squawking. They hung over me for a brief spell, and then flew off towards Dolwilliam. No chance. On Tuesday I was going to have a day off. That didn't happen. I went to the palace instead. It was another fascinating outing with Ffraed, but a little less exhausting. Just a bit. I had a look on the internet to see if I could find out where she might have been taking me, and I found it. The site of an early medieval chapel. Coughlin says was dedicated to the Celtic saint Haugen. I sense it is even more than this.